chose the word bold because that is what we need to be if we want to attract and engage the right attendees to come to our virtual events, especially in this world of saturated virtual content. Hi, my name is Ben Hindman. I'm the co-founder and CEO of Splash, and today I'm going to walk you through the 14 questions that I always ask before I even begin designing the invitations to my virtual event. And my hope is that if you follow along and take out a pen and answer these questions with me, you too are going to have the building blocks you need to write compelling copy and to design an invitation that gets your attendees to pay attention and to RSVP and actually to attend and engage and participate in your event. Okay, are you ready? Can you pull out a pen and paper and follow along with me? So let's do this and let's crank through these questions together. Okay, I'm going to share my screen here, and so hopefully you can see that, and so let's begin. So the first step, of course, is to identify who we want to come and what do we want from them. So I try to start with the group identity and really thinking about who is this group and who do we want to form as a collective here. And so the first question I always ask, because I do know that events have magic powers, is what if I had a magic wand? Who would I want to do what at the end of this event? The event's over, who do I want to do what? Literally, do I want them to click to ask to get a demo? Do I want them to refer a friend? Do I want them to email me and thank me profusely for a great event? What do I want them to do? So I write that down. So please write that down first, and that'll be the first answer to question number one. The next question is so important in the virtual space. It's an underrated question, choosing a size of your event. Now, if you want an intimate one-to-one gathering, I say stick to that. That's where you get the most real candid conversations. 4 is the optimal number for an effective collaboration event, so brainstorming or building together like a whiteboarding session. 6, on the other hand, is a perfect number for a discussion where you're sharing versus doing. 24 is a great number for a workshop where you're collaborating together and people are still interacting and sharing, but it's a larger group experience. 40 is really once you get to like the one-to-many experience, so like a webinar or a lecture or a keynote. And so if you do want to maintain interactivity and the group dynamic, you're going to need to create opportunities for interaction, really be thoughtful about that. And the only difference between 500 and 40 is the technology that you're going to need to use. So everyone, choose a size of your event, and let's move on to the third question, which is how do you get the right people in the room? So the first step is knowing who are those right people. So the third question is, what do you call these people? What's their title? What's their job function? Are they prospects? Are they customers? Where are they at in the funnel? Where are they from? What's their industry? Tell me everything you can about these people, and the more specific you can get, the better. Okay, but as important, especially as we're thinking about the email copy, is to get ultra specific. What do they call themselves? What is their industry speak? Like us, we call ourselves event profs. Is that what they call themselves? They call themselves event marketers or event leaders. Write down as many titles that they use for themselves as you've got. And just remember, the more specific you can get, the better. Ultra specific tells your attendee, this event is for you. Next question, question number 5, who do they want to be around? I try to think about who their peers and who their heroes are, because nothing is more impactful to getting great people to your event than getting great people to your event, right? And then talking about who else is coming. This is a social clout thing. So I end up using these other people for quotes, testimonials, speakers that I'm looking for, the host committee, or to brag about confirmed attendees. But this is a really powerful mechanism to driving attendance. And just as important as the opposite, who should not come to this? Priya Parker's got a great quote on this. Priya Parker, who wrote The Art of Gathering. You will have begun to gather with purpose when you learn to exclude with purpose. Over-inclusion could mean a lack of commitment to your purpose. So who should not come to this? Let's exclude with purpose. It really does help you think about, hey, if I invited that person, they might not come. And that's an important question to ask. Okay. So now that we kind of know who we're looking for and who we're not looking for, let's try to put ourselves in their mindset. I ask myself the question, where are my attendees when they receive this? And that is a big question. Where are they? Like really picture it and ask all the questions around this. Where are they physically? Where are they in time in their workday? Like what time are they getting this? Where are they in their planning cycle? Where are they in their careers? Where are they in their lives? Where are these people? Just really try to picture that. Answer as many of these as you can. Where are they? Okay, ready? We're about to move on. Now that we kind of have a sense of who we're inviting, Let's move on to what we're offering. And I think about this as the virtual value prop strategy. Now, it is true in traditional events, and it is even more true of virtual. If you cannot clearly define the value in concrete terms, your attendees will ignore your invitations. So let's talk about how to convey and define the value that we're offering in our events. And so first and foremost, important call out, nothing, not nothing, signals value like good design. So really spending that extra cycle on making sure your invitations and your design of your event look good, it just indicates value super fast. But let's kind of drive into what type of value we're offering. And so here's some examples of what types of things are valuable in the virtual environment. You can see here emotional rewards, skill development, insider info, networking, even offering them the spotlight is a valuable thing that you can offer somebody. And the reason I try to think about this is that this is going to get me closer to the types of images and illustrations that I'm going to insert into my designs. Once you get a sense of the value, you really want to look for pictures and imagery that convey that value. That's where you're going to choose your imagery. So, and I try to model that. So if it's like a coaching event, I want the images to model somebody coaching. Or if it's an event that's going to be super inspiring to them, I want to show them something that feels inspiring. So the value finds its way to the images. So once we have a sense of the type of value we're going to offer for question number 8, question number 9 is how to make that value important. And there's lots of ways to make something feel important, but I always try to think about what makes it urgent. What makes it important right now? Because if it's not urgent, heck, it's just not important, especially in today's fast-paced age. So asking that question, what makes it urgent? So here's a couple examples of ways that you can convey that the circumstances in the world have changed, and that's why it's important right now, or this is an outcome that you need right now. So you can offer one of these and kind of combine this with the type of value you're offering. An urgency statement is going to really help you understand how to convey the things that you're offering to these people. Okay, so that kind of brings us to our 10th question, which is what is in it for the attendee? And really trying to outline clearly and concisely what they are going to get from attending your event. And so what I try to do is I try to nail one clear value prop, just one. I mean, of course, you're going to have so many things that are valuable in your event, but I try to nail one. And then I try to get it as simple as I can, remove all the buzzwords from it. And I try to explain that, and then I turn up the volume, maybe sometimes even too high. So let's go through my process here. So here's an example. Meet other people in your industry. It's a pretty clear value prop. That is something that you would get from attending my event. Very simple, no buzzwords, check. Then what I do is I try to think about, all right, well, how do I make this a little bit more relevant, a little more specific? How do I turn up the volume to a 6? And so I'll try this one. Come collaborate with 30 peers with experience you can learn from. Ooh, kind of offering that this is something you need right now. All right, that's pretty good. That's something that would definitely pique my interest. But maybe what if I turn it up to a 9.5? Let's try this. What if you could get in a room with 30 of your peers to figure out the best solutions to your problems right now? Pretty powerful. So this is the process that I'll go through. And I might try to choose 2 or 3 takeaways, but I typically find that if I can just nail one and convey that one takeaway in my invitation sequence, I'm really going to win over that attendee. And with all of the things that we've done so far, we're finally at a place where we can begin talking about our working subtitle. Now, an event title is a super personal thing, and you're going to want to spend a lot of time thinking about a beautiful name for your event. But a subtitle, that's something that I try to iterate on over and over again, really try to refine and think about what is going to get that person to understand my event quickly. And so I think about some of the building blocks we've already chosen, what is the event? How does this group self-define? What do they call themselves? What is the value prop that we're offering, and how do I make it urgent? I recently held a workshop where I tried to answer these questions, and here's the work that I did. It was a workshop. It was for event marketers. We were covering strategic frameworks, and it was trying to convey that they had an event coming up. So this was going to be their next virtual event. And so here's where I landed. I named the thing Up Level. So I kind of inserted that this is going to be something you're going to get right into the title, Up Level. In this 75-minute workshop, you will craft a ready-to-launch strategy for your next virtual event alongside the top event marketers in the field. Pretty good, like a B+, not bad. But you get my process here. I try to take all these building blocks and make sure that I'm conveying them in the subtitle, and then I'll put together like 3 or 4 drafts of a subtitle, and I'll test them out. I'll even A/B test them. Okay, we're moving on to choosing a format. But instead of just thinking about this as a format, I want to urge you to really thinking about your interactivity strategy. How are you going to get your attendees engaged, not just at the event, but in the invitation sequence? So what is your interactivity strategy is critical, especially right now. So just to take a step back, like rewind, November 2019, we're all crushing our event plans, right? Brilliantly planning for 2020. And typically, this is how we would plan our events, right? We would start with something entertaining at the base, like a venue or a great music act or a speaker. And then we'd layer on value add content. And then we would hope that our attendees grabbed a drink and interacted with each other, visited the photo booth, that kind of thing. But then things changed. And we're competing with NBC and TED and Netflix and gaming consoles and a million YouTube videos. And so how do we ensure that people prioritize our value, the value that we're offering in a sea of virtual? And so I'd argue that the paradigm has flipped. So the most successful virtual events that I've seen, they flip the paradigm. They put interactivity at the bottom and recognize that it is our unique competitive advantage. And it is key for all of us to design interactivity into our events first. And so when I'm thinking about the format that I'm choosing in a virtual event, I try my best to think about the interactivity that is going to happen in that event. So here are a couple examples of things that are formats that I consider to be interactive. At the top, you can see, free-form conversations or structured conversations, and you can have, people who are speaking and the gallery, for example, if you want to make it a little bit bigger. Underneath that, you have things that are about education, helping people learn or level their skills up. And then underneath that, I tried to list out a couple things that are very interactive, collaborative even, things that you're actually building together, like brainstorming or a whiteboarding session. I love this, editorial review. I've seen people choose out articles and do mini book clubs together. Really cool, but these are some interactive formats. And I do want to call out that there are a lot of different formats that you can use that are one-to-many formats, and those aren't bad, but I would still urge you to infuse these with interactivity. Like really think about, how do I make these not just a speech, a talking act, sage on a stage? How do I make these interactive? And one way to think about making anything interactive is inviting your guests to participate. I find this to be one of the most powerful ways to get people in the game of my events. And I learned this from potluck dinners and costume parties. The more people invest, the more they're going to show up, the more they're going to enjoy, the more they're going to commit. So this is the 13th question I ask. What can I ask of my attendees before the event? Can I ask for ideas or to co-host? Can I ask them to wear costumes? Can I ask them to bring something? Can I learn stuff about them in the process? How do I invite my guests to participate? And if I can pick out a couple different touch points that get them to engage and participate, not only can I get them committed, but I can also see in the invitation process if they're actually going to attend. I look for that signal data to decide if someone's actually going to show up. And then lastly, I want to ask myself, what can I announce in the invitation sequence? And this comes from something I've learned after studying years of data around people RSVPing and no showing to my events. I've learned that much of the decision to attend an event happens after the RSVP. That's when you're really in the convincing stage. You're really trying to get someone to commit. And so then I asked the question, all right, what is a WTF factor? What is something that would kind of blow their minds, like a new speaker or knowing that one of their friends is coming, or a surprise, or a performance? What is something that I can announce and not reveal until a little bit later in the invitation sequence? And once I have that, I plan that out. I don't reveal it up front. I plan it out. So I make sure that they know that this event is gaining momentum and it's something that they still want to attend. And those are my 14 questions. Just to review, we went through a group identity strategy, we went through a virtual value prop strategy, and we went through an interactivity strategy. And my hope is that you answered all of these and you feel ready to sit down and design up your invitation sequence. And of course, I would highly recommend you check out Splash if you haven't already to design up your invitation sequence. We power all the events for some of the top brands in the world, and we've been able to launch a really compelling virtual solution. So check out what we're doing here. And before I start to take questions and work with you on your virtual events, I do want to leave you with one thought, which is that it is on us right now. This is the moment to make sure that we don't host mediocre virtual events, because right now we are the leaders who can determine whether our attendees trust our brands with their time. And webinar fatigue is certainly real. And so I hope that what you'll do is you'll take these 14 questions and you'll make sure that your next event is something special, something that really makes people want to come back and enjoy and love and trust your brand. I hope you found this useful. I look forward to hearing your questions. Thank you for spending time with me.